I am going to create a table of contents for a really long note. So a table of contents can be really super helpful in really long forms or notes, mostly in notes. I find when people are doing therapy. So a lot of times when you want your intake information to come into your therapy note so that you have it, you don't have to be switching between screens, the note can get excessively long. Now, IntakeQ has done something really cool recently, which is they've added a little like collapse button, which I'll show you when we get to the note. So you can collapse all of the section headers, and that's a really good start. However, if you want to go to specific sections and you don't want to have section headers, then this is a really, really good alternative. So buckle up, here we go. We're gonna create this note from scratch. I'm gonna use some sample information here and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just add some questions. I'm going to add a new question. And for this question, I'm going to make it a section title / note. And for the section title, I'm going to call it title of table of contents. And in this section text, this is where we are going to build out our table of contents. And what I'm going to do is there's this little button here that says HTML. And when you click on this, it takes you to kind of the code version of this area. And what I'm going to do is I am going to create, let's just say 3 sections. You can do this as many different places as you want to, but I'm going to create 3 sections. So for this, we don't need the HTML quite yet. I'm going to say in our table of contents, I'm going to say section 1, section 2, and section 3. Now that we have our sections, I am going to, and let's go ahead and I'm going to make this into bullets. Into an unordered list. Okay, so now that we have our table of contents, let's go ahead and preview that. This is what it looks like. So we have, this is a preview only, obviously, and then we have our, and you can see none of this is links yet. We haven't set that up quite yet. Okay, headed back here, we are now going to add a bunch of questions. So we have our sections created. We are going to add a little bit of code to each section. Okay, so I am going to come over here and grab this little bit of code. And this is just very, very simple HTML, and it will be in the course. So you can just copy and paste it. You don't have to mess with too much customization. You just have to change one tiny little section. So the first piece of code is going to be where we want to go to. So in my example, with our 3 sections, we have section 1, section 2, and section 3. That's where I'm going to put this. Sorry, it wasn't uniform, and that bothers me. We're going to put the little bit of code in each of these sections. So the way that looks is you'd come here to the section, and it has to be in a place where HTML is accepted. Now, if I tried to put it up here in section 1, and this was the code, this is not going to come through as code. So if I preview this form, you will see here that this is how it comes through on the form, and that's not what we want. So I want to change that back to just saying section 1, or I could leave this area blank. And then what I want to do is I want to paste this down here. Now, what this is saying is this is an H2 heading, and I'm going to change this to a paragraph heading. And the only difference, I can show you the difference here, and we'll take this back to an H2, is how you want it to look. So I'm going to grab this information and I'm going to copy it. Now, I'm going to click on our little HTML button here, and I'm going to paste it into the HTML. I'm going to get rid of all of this additional formatting and spaces. So this is all the information that I have, and this is 2 different examples of how it's going to look. So this is the title, this is the paragraph, and this is the header 2. Let's put header above paragraph. Okay, and get rid of that. All right, so now we're going to put back, you can see this is the difference. So this is, let's save it, let's preview it. Now we have the section 1 title, that's what that looks like, the section 1 header, and then the section 1 paragraph. So those are the 3 options here, and that depends on you. Do you want it to be a tiny little button, or do you want it to be something that you're gonna go find easily? So either way, I am going to come back in here, and we are just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave the paragraph. And I'm going to take out this title as well. So to see here is our section 1 paragraph. So now we have our table of contents and our section 1 paragraph. I'm going to go through, I'm going to do this to the other 2, not with all of the examples here. Take that out. And we're going to change this one, and we're going to change this one to 2. And in here, see where it says section 2, we're going to say section 2, no spaces, just section 2. And we're going to change that back. And down here, we're going to do, you guessed it, section 3 and section 3. Cool. All right. We have our places that we are going to. Now we are going to then alter our table of contents. So let's head back up to our table of contents section. And now we have our little HTML button here. And these are lists. This is a list, a little bit of list stuff there. And what we're going to do, we probably are going to do this. Let's go ahead and do this without the lists for now. And the first one that I'm going to do is section 1. So the only thing, now again, don't be scared. The only thing we're going to change here is section 1. And this says go to section 1. That's it. We're going to leave this one alone. Now we're going to go down. We're going to go section 2. Go to section 2, section 2. We're going to go down. We're going to say section 3. Go to section 3. That's it. We're going to click our HTML. Now, if you wanted to bullet point these, you can. It's a little easier to do it the other way. Okay, so here is our table of contents. You can see that these are now links. And so I am going to preview. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to find out if it's going to work on preview or not. I'm going to click preview. And I am going to test out our links. So up here we have our table of contents. Go to section 1. Boom. And you can see section 1 goes to the top of the paragraph, or to the top of the page here. Let's try section 2. Boom. Here is our section 2 paragraph, and we've got section 3. Boom. And that takes us to section 3. Oh, I didn't delete the header on section 3. So you can see that if you don't like the big headers, you don't have to have them in there. And by clicking or by creating a table of contents, it will still take you to the right spot. So this really just makes it look a lot prettier. There we go. If you don't want the headers to have to take you everywhere. There we go. There's our section 3. Now, the last thing I'm going to do here is there was, I've seen other questions about a back to top button. So let's go ahead and in the next lesson, create our back to top button.